How are you doing today? I have one question for you today. Do you know that you can create miracle? You can create miracle, and that it is actually even more important for you to create miracle if you are facing anything in your life that either completely undesirable, something going on in your life that you prefer is not happening, or perhaps it is less desirable. In other words, yes, you have your result, but you would prefer if you earn more money, if your work schedule's better, if your relationship better, if you have better health, a limitless amount of energy seemingly, or whatever it is that you would love to have different result, it's important for you to create miracle. Now the question is, how do you create miracles, particularly if you are facing situations that to start with already a challenge? And one of those things that happened in my life, a challenge, it was actually somebody, I said earlier this week, somebody dumped a large electronic. Somebody decided to dump large electronic on my dumpster, and one that the trash collector people don't pick up, and so much so I couldn't even easily move this thing. And so yes, it might not be as dire as some circumstance that you might have might feel to be having, but it was quite a challenge for me. I was like, what is all these things about? And I shared with you the last couple of days what I did with that, and it is also when you are facing challenges, whether it's something like that or even more significant to you or less, it's to one thing that allow you to have the awesome result that you want even in the face of this situation, is to actually decide. The first day I decided that I'm not going, after being allowing myself to be bothered for more than a day. I said, okay, I'm done. I'm decided that I'm not going to get dragged down in my energy, and therefore I am going to stay joyful with this. And then I said, okay, well, that everything there is in this universe, everything, there is no not for nothing. To say, to know that there is always some good in coming out of this. There's always some good, and feel grateful about that. And then the next things that ones want to do is to create miracle. Now that we have our energy, our vibe back, so to say, that you can choose, you can decide that, okay, you're going to be with the gratitude that you have, to be gratefully release this. To how you create miracle, the first thing is to let go of resistance. To let go of resistance. There is no reasons for you to be feeling apprehended anymore. There's no reasons for you to be resisting what happening anymore, because now you know that, okay, since everything happened in a way in the universe, there is not for nothing. Everything happened that in a way that will bring good for you, so you are grateful, and you are no longer resisting. If it's something that's going to bring good for you, you're not resisting anymore. And when you're not resisting anymore, you can actually allow your energy to flow. If you ever have resistance, say you're trying to move a large table on a carpet, long tough carpet, versus trying to move it on a slippery floor. The long tough carpet has a lot of resistance, and it's a lot of friction, and it takes a lot of energy, and all these things, that is a huge waste, and not get you don't get much far at all. And the same thing when you have resistance on something, which I absolutely did the first day when this happened. I was like, there was all resistance there, and even after I was able to shift my energy and said, okay, I decide this is not going to bother me, I still have some resistance. Looking back, I still have some resistance in there, being human. And then I said, okay, not for nothing, there's got to be something good in this. And therefore I am grateful, and I am grateful that there will be something good, and I'm grateful that I can choose what the outcome I'm going to have, and by letting go of resistance and therefore creating miracles. You and I actually has the ability to create miracles regardless of what's going on out there. And there are two main components of creating miracles out of undesirable things. So when whatever things that's going on and you don't like it, it's easy to say that I want a miracle when everything nice and beautiful, right? And you just see it even better. But what about when things not so desirable? Well, the first thing is to let go of resistance, let go of the fighting. As long as you're fighting, you're gonna focus on fighting, and you're not going to be able to focus on growing. You're not going to be able to focus on welcoming things. And when you fight, there's usually a component of anger, a component of frustrations and all these things. And where is your vibrations and your energy? Lower down instead of where the universe moves. So letting go of your resistance, letting go of your fighting, and then feeling grateful. Feeling grateful because where gratitude lives is on the higher energy vibrations, where joy and peace and where the universe flow. And now that you allow to yourself to feel grateful, you also want to know what's the outcome that you love. What is the best possible outcome that could happen, and then maybe even stretch it a little further. I had this very interesting experience a few years back actually when I was selling my condominium. And I was selling one of the condominium, and the first realtors that came in look at everything and said, well, I mean, you can sell it at this, or you can sell it as those fixer-upper. And you don't have to take care of anything. And I'm like, my condominium's not a fixer-upper. What are you kidding about? And I stay quiet to myself. I'm like, okay, thank you for your recommendations. And then I have one after a couple other realtors, a few other realtors came in, and they said, and each time it was like, I'm like, no, that could not be. I know this condominium still worked very well and all these things. And each time I took the actions, and they said this and they said that. Some people say, well, if we do all kind of this thing, then we might be able to get this value. Maybe we can get, if we do a huge chunk of change, maybe we'll get this market value. I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like doing a huge chunk of thing and putting a large amount of money and only get market value. And come a realtor, and the person is a diamond performance realtor of one of the largest real estate company in the United States. She come rolling in and she look at everything. She said, well, we can do that, we can do that, we can do that. It will be a good thing to do, not a huge chunk of money, and I can foresee that we can do this and we can do this. I'm like, all right, somebody finally in alignment with me. And then as we go through this, I said, well, I mean, we are aiming for this. Is there a part of me that wanted to listen to the other realtor and say, but what if we do this thing and then it doesn't sell? Because that's a possibility. And what if it sells at a low price? I would lose money. What if all these things? And then, it takes the same amount of energy for you to imagine the worst, in this case with me, didn't sell, or to imagine that, yes, we will be able to hit market value or market price, or it's also take the same amount of energy for you to imagine the best possible thing that you could possibly imagine. And so for me, what would be the best possible thing? I said, well, what if I got offer way above the asking price, and for multiple reasons, I come out with the figure $45,000 above asking price on a tight market where it was a buyer market. And I said, well, you know what? If I'm going to imagine things and it takes the same amount of energy, so why not I imagine $45,000? So the condo went on sale. Can you guess what's the offer I got? You're right. Exactly $45,000 above asking price. which is awesome. It was a win for me, it was a win for the realtors, and it was even a win for the people who bought them. The people love it so much. That's why they're willing to offer so much. They wrote long letters on what they foresee doing and all these things, and they were so happy to win the bidding. There was some more 70 bidding. They win the bidding. They were happy to about that. And so it was such a beautiful all-win way. And at the same time, I look at that and I'm saying, wow, should have asked for $55,000 above asking price. Next time, I'll stretch my imaginations a little bit more. Now, back to you and the conditions you are facing right now and the miracle you're going to create. Now that we share this, now you know that what you think might just truly come true. What's the step stretching out of it? What's an extra stretch that you could possibly take just one little tiny step further? If you say this is what the best possible outcome that you just imagined, what's the tiny little stretch? Because just as you see with my experience, it might just come through in the most amazing way. I mean, that condo sells so quick, it was so amazing that the realtor, the Diamond Performance realtor, was amazed. And so what about you? What miracle would you love to create? Let go of resistance of whatever is going on. And be grateful that you have the choice, you have the ability to decide, to choose and decide what you want to think, what seed of good you want to find, what you are grateful for, and what's the best and even better possible outcome. And tomorrow I'm going to share with you what's the outcome that I have from this person dumping large electronic junk. I still don't know who it is, but dumping large electronic junk on me. And in the meantime, please share in the comment below what it is that you would love to see in your life. Well, welcome to reach out to me if you'd love some support, and feel welcome to share this video, share your feedback in the comment below. And this is Bridget with Joyful Riches Beyond Grief. I love you very much. I see you having amazing, spectacularly miraculous result and creating a beautiful, thriving life one day at a time, and a magnificent thriving life as a whole. And I look forward to see you again very